speaker. Is on his second Pathways group of projects and is presenting from the Engaging Humor Group. His hope today is to have all of you regaled in a variety of emotions you'll experience by listening and feeling his stories about his experiences that led him and his family to come to live here in Central Florida. CB3's goal is to spur some of your own memories and feelings of what brought you to be here in this room today with us. The title of his talk is An Icebreaker, 21 years ago, How I Came to Live Here. Please give a generous welcome to Path Club President and Distinguished Toastmaster, Carmelo Belardo III.
I consider myself very fortunate. Who in this room loves to watch reruns of old TV shows? Yeah, it's about half, that's right. Recently, I came across some short clips of the show NYPD Blue on YouTube. Short 2 to 3 minute clips, and they just kept coming. Once you click on it, they just keep coming. So I was really excited because I really loved that show. And then I found on Hulu, everybody has Hulu? Yeah, Hulu has the whole series. So I've been binge watching it lately. So I consider myself very fortunate. TV series from the 90s and the 80s, one of the things that I love about watching them now is that many of them use the New York City skyline for their transitions. When the show comes out of commercial, they span across the skyline. And usually, there's those 2 majestic towers that are spanning the skyline and just towering over everything, really representing what New York City looks like. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow guests, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Last year marked the 20th anniversary that my family and I moved to Florida. And when we decided to buy a home here, we had no idea when we were going to be able to live here because my wife worked for a major airline. And we ended up closing on that house on September 10th, 2001. September 9th, which was a Sunday, was a very interesting day. We had a flight that we had to catch, and my daughters, who are 24 and 21 now, were little, precious little girls, and I would give my right arm right now to go back to that time. And I'm a drummer, so that says a lot. On the way to the airport, we had our dog, Bunky, a little poodle. Now, Bunky was a little rambunctious guy. He was very smart. If he heard you talking about taking a bath, he would run and hide. He would listen, and you know what you're talking about. I just didn't understand it. He would eat corn in the car, rolling the corn with his paw. And he hated the dog bag. If you saw the dog bag, you weren't getting him in. He was hiding and he was biting. And that day, after I dropped off my wife Josie and the girls at the terminal, I went to the parking lot and parked the car with Bunky. I kept the bag in the trunk so he wouldn't see the bag. Not smart. Well, I had an 86 Park Avenue, and when I opened the trunk, there's a little spot where the metal in the trunk comes up, and the dog is on the rear dashboard watching me take the dog bag out of the car. And I said, oh boy. So I closed the trunk, tried to put the dog in the bag. I was actually bleeding, trying several times to get this cute little dog. Knowing I had X amount of time to make this flight so that I could be in Florida to close on our house. And it wasn't happening. Lucky it wasn't happening. So what do? I call my wife. I don't know what to do. I can't get the stupid dog in the bag. I'm leaving. I'm gonna kill this dog. I was emotional. I want to kill him. I love dogs. So she said, leave the dog. Get over here, you're gonna miss the plane. So I opened the windows. It was September, so it wasn't that hot. So we called my niece who lived in Long Island. She came and had to find the car, thousands and thousands of cars at the parking lot at JFK International Airport. And the dog was okay. And we made it. I was running. Everybody remember O.J. Simpson and the Hertz commercial? Remember TWA Terminal 5 in New York City? Those long tunnels? Everybody remembers TWA, right? I got on the plane. Oh, TSA was very different back then. You didn't have to take your shoes off, your belt. They knew I was coming because my wife told everybody, my husband's coming. I got on the plane, out of breath, sat down, first class, thank God. As soon as I sat down, the sweat just poured out of me. Thankfully, a few minutes later, I had a nice cocktail in my hand, and we were on our way. Now, we all know what happened on September 11th. Some might say we got skunked that day, but we didn't. Josie worked for TWA, which was owned by American Airlines. They had purchased American Airlines earlier that year. And promptly, everybody at TWA was furloughed. They were out of jobs. And American kept them, and they repositioned them to different places where they needed employees. So my wife worked at JFK, and she hated LaGuardia. Anybody remember LaGuardia in the 90s? Much better now, I think. She didn't want to go to LaGuardia. So they told us, we have an opening in Orlando. You could bump somebody. And this was in like October. And again, remember, we didn't know how long it would be before we lived in Florida. So she took the spot in Orlando. Sorry for that person that got bumped. And by November, we were living in our new home in Altamont Springs. Now, years later, I thought about this. And a lot of people died on September 11th. A lot of lives were affected. My family were beneficiaries of that day in some respect, as we probably wouldn't have moved to Florida for some time. And there was a lot of guilt. It was hard to deal with. But I'm very fortunate, as I said earlier.